Richician.
Oh, almost forgot the mic. Hey YouTube, Dog Richician 84 here, and welcome to Q&A number 167. Let's kick things off. So the first question is from someone different, Lightwolf17. What if the Yu-Gi-Oh card makers made a Sonic the Hedgehog deck set? Would you get it and make a deck? Maybe I would, just on Edo Pro. Because like I keep saying, I don't want to build or rebuild any more decks in real life for myself. But yeah, it is something that would be right up my street, actually. So yeah, even if it's just online, I think I would, most definitely, because, yeah, big Sonic fan. I say that, and I'm a bit far behind on all the video games. Next questions are from Matt and Alison Welch. For the next live duel at the WCQ, would you like to see Jaden's voice actor use a Yubel deck, since in Jaden's backstory that Yubel was originally his ace signature and favourite card before Elemental Hero Flame Wingman was his favourite, and before Elemental Hero Neos was his ace. Plus Jaden and Yubel have a close, strong bond. It would kind of make sense, but I don't know how I'd feel about that. It would seem a bit unusual seeing Jaden play something that's not his elemental heroes. But yeah, despite Yubel being the original favourite and ace, I don't know if I can really see him playing that style of deck. I mean, maybe he'd play the original three forms in his hero deck, but I don't know. It just wouldn't feel right to me. Yeah, I don't know about that. If it was Yubel herself playing, then yeah, that would be a different story. That would be quite interesting to see, regardless of who Yubel would face. 2. Yugi, Jaden, Yusei, Yuma, Yuya, and Yusaku all meet somehow through time and space. They decide to have a battle royale, not to save the world, but just to have fun. Each of them uses a deck based solely on their ace monster. Who do you think the winner would be? So, yeah, I'm assuming this would be modern variants, so yeah, obviously for Yugi it would be Dark Magician, for Jaden it would be a modern elemental hero deck, basically with the focus being Shining Neos Wingman, I guess as the final boss monster, and Yusei playing Synchrons and Stardust, Yuma strictly playing Utopia, Yuya playing Odd Eyes, Performer Powers and Magician Pendulum, so not much difference really, and Yusaku just simply playing Code Talkers. That's a good question. Yeah, considering any of them can bring out strong plays. I mean, it would also depend on whether or not Yugi would have Red Eye's Dark Dragoon. I don't think he would, because that would require him to have Red Eye's Black Dragon, but he wouldn't be involved in that situation. Oh, but then again, I guess he could just... wait, does he have any dragon effect monsters? No. Any dragons Yugi... Wait. Hold on. This Volt Scalf is a dragon, isn't it? Oops, I've missed a few pages. Oh yeah, Des Volt Scalf is in fact a dragon, and he's got Gandora as well, so... Oh, but then again, this isn't his anime deck. But yeah, he could still play a dragon effect monster, I guess, if he wanted to play Dragoon. Oh, but then again, yeah, because he'd have Timaeus, the United Dragon. So, yeah, the strongest boards Yugi could probably make is either just summon Dragoon or just have Eternal Soul, Dark Magical Circle, and Dark Magician the Dragon Knight. Assuming Jaden isn't playing any of the other heroes, like his best plays would involve Shining Neos Wingman, Flame Wingman Infernal Rage, Sunrise, Wake Up Your Elemental Hero. Plus, he does have Super Poly, which can help get rid of the Dragoon and bring out Escoridao. Yusei can just bring out all the forms of upgraded forms of Stardust Dragon. Yuma, of course, has the power of Utopic Dragnar, Draco Future. What else is there? Utopia Leo, Utopic Draco Future. And Yuya would have things like Vortex, Gravity, Pendulum Graph, Gatling Ghoul, for some control plays, and Yusaku can just bring out the strongest Code Talker monsters, including Access Code Talker. Then there is also the Firewall monsters, including Tempest Terahertz and Firewall Dragon Singularity. So it really does depend on who can bust out the more overwhelming board. I mean, statistically, the more likely three winners would be Yugi, Yusei, and Yusaku, I guess. So they're the three that would be more likely to win. But yeah, it would also depend on whether they'd have some sort of interruption as well. Yeah, it also comes down on who would get to go first, and what sort of battle royale rules they'd go with. If they did the ones where nobody can attack on the first turn, then they would have to set up like a strong board of interruptions, or at least Yugi and Yuya would. most likely. But yeah, because Jaden has Super Poly, he can get rid of a negate like Dragoon, shooting Quasar Dragon, and shooting Majestic Star Dragon. I was going to say Cosmic Blazer, but it can negate summons as well, which would be tricky. And then of course there's Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon as well. Man, this is really tough to figure out. See, if they were using their anime decks, I would say Yugi would win hands down as well. He's the king of games. Although Yusaku and Yusei would probably almost win. But if we're talking modern, yeah, this is really, really tricky to figure out. Yeah, I can see why Weber's 5 didn't want me to ask this sort of question for his Q&A segment. But yeah, anyway, if we're going by the other Royal rules, where the last person to go gets to draw and attack, it depends who it would be. If it's Yugi, I don't think he'd be able to just take someone out right away, depending on what kind of board would be made. Jaden maybe can take out one person, and, like, if he can deal with at least one negate. Also depends if he can bait one. Whereas Yusei and Yusaku are more likely to one-shot someone. Again, depending on whether or not there's a negate on board. Yuya, I don't think would be able to do much. Same with Yuma. I don't know. I mean, I think but yeah, it depends what kind of board could be made, but I guess I'd have to lean more towards Yusei winning the whole thing, because he has like a plethora of synchros that can just overwhelm the board and like drop 2 or 3 negates, assuming, of course, depending whether or not Yugi has Dragoon or Yuya has Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon, or whether or not Jaden can do a disruption with Super Poly. Yeah, Yusei is going to have to be my best guess for this one. Next questions are from Gunner, and these ones are about sacred beasts. 1. Do the sacred beasts need more support? I'm not so sure about that. Maybe something that could make them less bricky, but the thing is though, the support from the structure deck kind of made them too good. Well, particularly Cerulean Skyfire and Awakening of the Sacred Beast, which are the 2 cards that actually made me hate playing against them, because those cards by themselves just make it so that no one can play. I mean, Skyfire just negates half the deck, whereas Awakening just negates the other half. Plus becomes a floodgate in Macrocosmos, depending on how many sacred beasts are out on the field, and that's just not fun to deal with. I mean, if these cards were either banned or didn't exist, then I wouldn't have a problem with them, at least not in current format anyway. But of course, in Richician format, I banned those two cards just to actually make Sacred Beasts enjoyable to play with again. But yeah, like I said, if they did get something which could compensate for bricks, then I think that would be enough for them. 2. Which sacred beast is your favourite one? Mine is Uriah. My favourite one personally is Hamon. It's kind of interesting considering Skyfire only works if Hamon's on the field, but yeah, I still hate Cerulean Skyfire, god damn it. But no, I do like Hamon more because, well, it's the easiest one to summon and has, well, the best effects. Then again, Hamon's effect to destroy sets which can't be responded to is really good as well, but I just really like Hamon more for a number of reasons. Like, again, it's the easiest one to summon because you can just throw down 3 continuous spells, then send them all to bring Hamon out. Alright, I know obviously Chaos Summoning Beast and Dark Summoning Beast can cheat it out, but yeah, outside of that, it's just the easiest one to bring out. Because with Uriah, you'd have to wait like a turn or two to be able to summon it properly, whereas Raviel's just awkward to set up for, because you need a way to spam out a bunch of fiends. I mean, I know Dark World's always been capable of doing that, but yeah, other than that, Raviel's tricky. Plus, I do like, or with Hamon, that it does 1,000 points of burn damage if it pops a monster. Plus, while it's in defense mode, gives it the ability to protect other monsters from being attacked. So, yeah, it's got some very good solid effects all around. I mean, it might be a surprise to some that I never played it in my Crystal Beast deck, which I know is an option, and I could have done that, but you know, I never wanted to do that. With Crystal Beasts, I prefer to build up to Rainbow Dragon, which is the true boss. I mean, alright, I know before Legendary Duelist 2 came out, you know, players would prefer to use Hamon or Malefic Cyber End or the Queen of Tragic Endings. I forget the full name, but it's the one where you send a continuous spell to summon it. Yeah, someone must know what I'm on about, but yeah, it was just annoying that Crystal Beast players would use those 3 monsters and then just disregard Rainbow Dragon and just not give it a chance. But yeah, I'm just happy now that to see every Crystal Beast player actually run Rainbow Dragon and let that become the focus again, as well as the fusion forms, you know, which is how Crystal Beasts are supposed to be. Just build up to Rainbow Dragon. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, Hamon, Malefic Cyber End, and the Dragon Queen of Tragic Endings are fantastic monsters. Nothing against them. I just prefer to stick more to a theme when it comes to my deck. Make it pure, make it focus on what it's meant to do. I play cards from other archetypes in certain decks sometimes, like my Light Rays, but that's just for the necessity. Anyway, I digress. I love how this was a Sacred Beast special amount of questions, and yet I ended up talking about the Crystal Beasts. Yeah, that answers that question anyway. And 3. Should the Sacred Beasts get their own decks focusing on each beast? I guess that's something they could do. If they're not focusing on decks based on that include all 3 of them. It's not the first time that happened. I mean, there are those that just focus on Uriah and run lots of continuous traps and use the trap monsters, which is fair enough. I mean, it's down to personal preference. I mean, I do kind of prefer it when they're all in the same deck, but I guess it would keep things fresh and different if they had their own unique support and were played in their own decks. In fact, I'm pretty sure back in the day, Dark World players were running Raviel just because they could. I know there was also the Dark Gaia OTK, but that didn't involve summoning Raviel. It's not really something I approved of, really, because I hate OTK decks. But yeah, you could just get away with playing Raviel in like any Fiend deck, really. Would have been cool to see it as some sort of spicy tech in all the Fiend decks we've been seeing this past year, like Fiendsmith, Ubel, Unchained. What else was there? Infernoids, a Labyrinth. I guess having them focus on their own decks would be pretty sweet. And the last question is from John Cross. What are your thoughts on polymerization with the Elemental Hero and Elemental Hero Avian on it? I do like it, it's really awesome. I should have known Konami would do something like that. It is a cool artwork of Poly. And if I had like 2 play sets, I probably would play them in my hero decks. But then again, I do also like playing a play set of the original print of Poly. But then again, I can still spread these out between my current format and my past format hero decks. So that's something I probably would do. Maybe even play it in Legendary Hero. Actually, no, maybe not, because it does have non-hero monsters in there. So I guess I would like to get some copies for like my current format and past format versions of Elemental Heroes and Rainbow Neos. That's something I'd be happy to do. Maybe even my Jaden character deck as well. Of course, that might involve getting a lot of quarter century Bonanza. I mean, I wouldn't mind getting a box or 2 of that, but I just can't spare the money for that right now. Anyway, that's going to do it for questions in this episode. Thank you very much for your guys' questions, and if you have any other questions you want to ask me, post them in the comments section down below. Now normally I do these every Tuesday afternoon or evening UK time, but here's the thing, I don't think I'm going to get a chance to do an episode next week, because next week the big move is finally going to happen, so I might not get the time to do it. And I mean, maybe I can still do it in 2 weeks' time, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what my schedule is going to be for Q&As and at the moment. I mean, other dueling content is just whenever. The What If Wednesday series, well, there's a few episodes scheduled all the way up to the 18th of this month. But yeah, obviously, me and Emma need to get some Wi-Fi sorted. But yeah, I don't know if I'll still do Q&A episodes on Tuesdays, or whether or not I change the day I do it. I guess I'll try and stick with the schedule, but I don't know how frequently I'll be able to do it at the moment. So you can still post questions for the next episode, but yeah, it's all just up in the air. But at the moment, I don't think I'll be able to do an episode next week. But we'll see. I'm sure something can be worked out. But yeah, other than that, thanks again, stay safe, and I'll catch you guys later. See ya. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the Richician YouTube channel.